Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and it has been about 6 months, actually 6 months and 1 day since the iPhone 6S and 6S Plus was released. I thought I'd do a follow-up and just tell you how it's holding up. So this is the 6S Plus. This is space gray and it's 64 gigabytes. They have a couple different models available. You had the gold and the silver. I prefer the space gray, and over the past 6 months I haven't used a case. So I wanted to first talk about the actual physical way it's held up, the software, and then we'll talk about battery. If you notice around the top on the camera ring, you'll notice it's a little bit darker on the top than on the bottom, and it's worn off, and that was some anodized coating that was on this ring itself, and that's just simply from putting it down like this and then picking it back up. On the bottom, we have the same thing worn off here on the anodized aluminum. So this is basically, it must touch here and maybe a little bit up here. But overall, it's held up pretty well considering I don't use a case. I just put it in my pants pockets, and that's pretty much it. So it just goes in and out of there and then on a table, and that's it. I don't put anything under it. I just use it like that just to see how it holds up. Now, the screen itself is held up pretty well considering that I dropped it on a garage floor and actually gouged it right there. Let me see if you can see that in the light. See right there, there's a little gouge in the screen. If I can get it to focus right there. And then there's some scratches over here, but nothing, for the most part, the only one you can see is that little gouge. The rest are really light scratches that are only visible in very bright light. And this actually fell on a garage floor. Was actually fixing a car, laying down, and it was in my pocket. I normally leave it out of my pocket up on a table or something. It fell out face down onto a garage floor. That only happened about, I don't know, about a month ago, maybe not even a month ago. So it's been pretty good, and it's held up pretty well. I don't drop my phone. I don't use a case. It's very slippery when it's cold, but throughout normal use in the day, it gets a little bit less slippery. Right here, you can see it's worn. There's a little line there too, where it's worn out. Now, most people are probably not going to use it like this. They'll probably use it with a case rather, or a skin or something like that. I've had a D-brand skin on it only for a couple weeks, and then I used it mostly without anything on it. I haven't used a screen protector at all for any period of time, and it's held up well. I think without the screen protector, it really is the better way to use a phone. That's just my opinion. I like the feel of it, the curves on the edge, but that's really a matter of opinion and choice. If I was to crack the screen, I can get it replaced from Apple for about $130 right from the Apple Store, which isn't really cheap, but 3 or 4 screen protectors or so is about the cost of that. Depends on what screen protectors you get. The overall experience with the operating system has been pretty good. It really hasn't had any slowdowns with the exception of betas, and beta software will always give you some sort of slowdown. You really won't have that issue if you're running standard software for the most part. Some people have said that 9.2.1 on older devices is a little bit slow, maybe ate into their battery life a little bit on the 6S or 6S Plus. But for me personally, I really didn't have any issues with it, but I'm mostly running betas on this. So this is 9.3, and this is beta 7 at this current time. Let me put it on airplane mode, so in case we get any notifications. So this is really fast and fluid. I can't complain about the speed of everything. The camera's nice and fast. Everything works well. I have had a few weird connectivity bugs as far as Wi-Fi is concerned. Occasionally I have to turn Wi-Fi off and back on. And that's really something that's in the software, I'm sure. I haven't had any hardware problems. I haven't had any dust issues. In previous iPhones, I've had dust between the screen. I've also had dust behind the lens before, actually, and I'd never had any issues with this particular iPhone, so that's really good. I'm using a lot of storage because I have over 60,000 photos with the photo library and using photos. I plan to do a video on that in a future update, but right now it's held up really well, and I haven't had any issues. As far as the battery life is concerned, battery works pretty well for me. I haven't had any issues there as well. Let's go into battery. And this is 90%. It hasn't been plugged in this morning. I woke up, unplugged it. You'll see here it says 17 minutes standby, 14 minutes usage, which is definitely not right because it hasn't been plugged in since about, well, it's 12:44 p.m. It hasn't been plugged in since about 7 to 9 a.m., somewhere in there. So these numbers aren't correct, but battery's been pretty good with beta 7. I have to say I haven't had any issues there, and you'll see in the last 7 days, basically mail uses the majority of my battery. But I can easily go a very long time without having any battery issues. That's one thing I find that's great about iPhones is they last a very long time, years, without any battery issues. Worst case scenario is you have the battery replaced, and that's actually pretty inexpensive if you do it yourself. So that's pretty much it when it comes to the iPhone 6S and 6S Plus. It's held up pretty well for 6 months. The software's been pretty stable for me anyway for the past 6 months, and I'm looking forward to the iPhone 7 and actually tomorrow's event, the iPhone 5 SE. And I'm curious to see what else they'll show. A new watch, who knows? I'm not really sure, but there's some rumors of a new iPad. I'm hoping some new MacBooks, but it's hard to say until the actual event hits tomorrow. I'm also looking forward to WWDC in June when they show the next version of iOS, so iOS 10. Hoping for some big leaps when it comes to the iPad Pro. It's hard to say, but iOS 10 and OS 10 also should have some new releases being shown there, and then iPhone 7 usually around September. But let me know what you think of the iPhone 6S and 6S Plus in the comments below. What's your experience been like? Has it been stable? Have you had good battery life? Has it been durable? If you're not using a case with it, has it been very durable? Let us know in the comments below. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe and like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.